The whole of the Zarathian Empire was made of black steel and arrogance. Every inch gleamed with the perfection of a civilization that believed itself above all others, calculating, efficient, and utterly devoid of emotion. Humans, to them, were primitive animals. They said our brains were cluttered with myth and emotion, our weapons ancient toys, and yet the council had summoned one human to perform a demonstration. Before the high command part of their cultural studies program, the human delegation consisted of one girl, 11 years old. Her name was Aiko Tanaka. The Zarathian guards whispered among themselves when she entered the chamber. "Where is the warrior?" hissed one. "She is the warrior," replied the translator drone, its voice metallic with disbelief. Aiko wore a simple white training GI, her black hair tied back neatly. In her small hands, she carried a katana sword half her height, wrapped in white silk. The aliens couldn't help but laugh. "Is that the weapon your kind prides itself on?" sneered General Rather, his four mandibles curling in amusement. "A sharpened stick. Our soldiers wield plasma cannons, capable of vaporizing mountains." Aiko bowed politely. "This is not a stick," she said softly. "It is a soul." That made them laugh even harder. "Humans and their metaphors," said the general, waving a claw dismissively. "Proceed with your demonstration." The floor shimmered as a combat drone rose from the ground, a humanoid machine of liquid metal and adaptive armor. It could anticipate movement, counterstrike in microseconds, and move faster than the human eye could see. The aliens leaned forward, eager to watch the child humiliated. Aiko bowed once more, stepping barefoot onto the polished floor. She set the sword upright, closed her eyes, and whispered a few words in Japanese. Her voice was calm, the same calm one might feel before a storm. The drone lunged. Metal feet cracked the floor, and in a blur of silver light, the machine's claw shot toward her throat. The aliens smirked, but Aiko moved. Not fast, not like a machine, but smoothly, like water flowing through steel. Her sword flashed once. Shink, the room fell silent. The drone froze mid-motion. Then, slowly, it fell apart, cut cleanly in two from shoulder to hip. The edges of its armor were still glowing from the heat of the perfect slice. Aiko exhaled, resheathing her sword in a single, graceful motion. The Zarathians blinked their multiple eyes in disbelief. One of the scientists stammered, "That should not be possible. The drone's reflexes are 20 times faster than a human's." "She predicted it," whispered another. "She read its movement before it even began." General Rethar's amusement curdled into anger. "Begin phase 2, he ordered. 2 more drones emerged, then 4, then 8. The floor vibrated as the chamber filled with the hum of targeting systems and worry servos. Aiko stood still, eyes half-lidded, breathing slow and deep. Her hand rested gently on her swords. Hilt, the drones attacked simultaneously, blurs of light and death. Ico's sword became a streak of silver, slash, turn, step, slice. It wasn't fighting, it was art. By the time she stopped moving, the air was filled with silence again. The drones lay scattered like broken toys, sparks hissing from their cores. Not a single cut missed. The Zarathian scientists were speechless. The general's jaw clenched. "How?" he growled, his mandibles trembling. "How does a primitive blade overcome adaptive armor and predictive AI?" Aiko looked up at him, her expression gentle but her eyes sharp as her blade. "Because you fight to win," she said quietly. Humans fight to understand. The general slammed a claw onto the table. Nonsense. You cannot defeat mathematics with philosophy. But even as he barked, his second-in-command leaned closer. General, the data from her movements. They defy analysis. She anticipated the drone's algorithms before they calculated her. She learned them, said one of the engineers. She studied their patterns mid-fight. The general turned toward Aiko, narrowing his eyes. You think this trick impresses me, little human? You used our own arrogance against us, perhaps, but no blade can harm a Zarathian. He motioned to his guards. Bring me my champion. The chamber doors slid open, and a towering Zarathian warrior strode in 8 feet tall, covered in living armor that pulsed with light. His claws could pierce titanium. He carried a plasma halberd that burned with white fire. The humans in the viewing gallery, ambassadors, diplomats, and scientists stood in alarm. She's just a child. One shouted. Aiko didn't flinch. Do you wish to withdraw? The general asked Mockingly. She bowed. No, the sword must speak for itself. The duel began with a roar. The Zarathian champion moved like a storm strikes, so fast they blurred. His weapon sliced through air, plasma searing across the floor, carving molten lines. Aiko dodged, sidestepped, and weaved like a leaf in wind. Every movement was precise, minimal, efficient. Her sword gleamed each time it met the halberd, ringing like a bell through the hall. Clang, step, spin, block, then an opening, a flash. The champion thrust his weapon downward. Aiko moved faster than thought. She stepped inside the strike, twisted her body, and drew her blade in a perfect upward arc. The plasma halberd split in two. The Zarathian froze, his armor's lights flickering. The blade had cut through the hardest known substance in their empire. He stumbled back, staring at her in disbelief. How? He began. Aiko sheathed her sword. It's not the weapon, she said softly. It's the one who holds it. The hall was silent. Then, slowly, a sound echoed a single human clap. Then another. The human delegates rose, applauding in awe. Even some of the younger Zarathians stared at her with something close to respect, or fear. The general, however, seethed. Your tricks will not save your species, he hissed. Technology will always surpass flesh. Aiko turned to him, her expression calm. My ancestors once believed the same, she said. They built machines and bombs that could erase cities. But a sword teaches something no machine can. It teaches patience, focus, and humility. She looked up, meeting the alien's many eyes. Your empire mocks our past because you fear what it means, that humans can learn from anything. We adapt not because of metal, but because of spirit. The general fell silent. Later, as Aiko was escorted out, one of the Zarathian scientists followed her. Human girl, he said hesitantly. Why? Why do you still train with such weapons? Your species has plasma rifles, too. Aiko smiled. Because a plasma rifle kills what's in front of you, she said. A sword kills what's inside you. He didn't understand, but he would remember her words for the rest of his life. Weeks later, intelligence reports spread through the Galactic network. The Zarathian Empire had begun studying human martial philosophy, their training academies, integrated swordsmanship into neural combat programs. They called it the Aiko Doctrine, and deep in a small dojo on Earth, Aiko trained alone under the falling cherry blossoms. unaware that her quiet discipline had changed an empire's view of humanity. Epilogue years later, historians would write about the day of the blade, the moment when one human child reminded the galaxy that strength was not measured in firepower, but in the precision of a single, unwavering soul, and somewhere among the stars, whispered in both fear and reverence, aliens spoke the words they had once mocked: never underestimate a human with a sword. Asterisk.